Let's talk about the Avigator multi-scale chronograph. I'll walk through the inspiration behind the watch, the design intentions, and what the future holds for this collection. Let's review the spec sheet and I'll dive into the design. The Avigator features a Miyota 6S50 quartz chronograph. The primary highlight of this movement is the big date function at the 12 o'clock position, which you don't really see often out there. The case is 45mm in size with a 22mm lug width. The thickness comes in right at 13mm, including the crystal, a double dome sapphire crystal with AR coating, and the 100 meters of water resistance rounds out the specs here. Now for a little watch history and the primary inspiration behind this watch. When we launched the Avigator collection, it became an instant classic and continues to be one of the most popular styles for the brand. What made this watch unique for us was the bold case shape, as it harkens back to what is historically known as the trench watch. The trench watch was a type of watch that the military used during World War I, literally down in the trenches. Back then, men primarily used pocket watches, and the use of wristwatches were still not really a thing. As you can imagine, the use of a pocket watch during combat probably wasn't very practical. So what the soldiers would do was solder thick wires to their pocket watches to be able to attach leather straps to it and throw it on their wrist. Some believe that this was the birth of the wristwatch. When you look at the silhouette of the Avigator, you'll see the direct inspiration we pulled from wire lugs soldered onto a pocket watch. For that reason, we made the case slightly oversized at 45mm to really capture the feeling and form function of a classic pocket watch. From the side, the case is beautifully shaped onto the rounded bezel and finally transitioning onto the double dome sapphire crystal. The goal was to retain the utilitarian aspect of the case form, but refine the details to keep it classic and subtle. Let's take a look at the movement. The Avigator features the Miyota 6S50, which is a quartz chronograph that features a center chrono second hand and a small counter that measures down to 1/10 of a second. The mechanics behind this movement is unique when you utilize a chrono function. It has a slight sweeping hand motion as the second hand moves across the dial. It's not going to be as smooth as a mechanical watch, but it certainly gives you the appearance of something different than a standard chronograph. The big date function is my favorite part of the watch. It's beautiful in looks and also very practical for when you need to check the date for a quick, easy read. You really don't see this type of function too often, and it's certainly an iconic feature to the Avigator. Avigator, by definition, means an aerial navigator. So while the case body was inspired by the soldiers down in the trenches, the movement and function was actually inspired by the soldiers in the skies. The case back features a beautiful motif of pilot's wings and the turbine of an engine. We call it a multi-scale chronograph as it features both a tachymeter and a telemeter. While the classic tachymeter measures speed, the telemeter is used to measure the distance between an observed event and the sound it creates. This was a useful tool for pilots and soldiers in general when they observe, let's say, a flash of light from a bomb and hear the sound it makes moments later. An example of how I would use the watch would be to maybe see how far a storm is coming from a distance. Let's say I see a flash of lightning. I start the chronograph when I see it, and then when I hear the clap of thunder, I stop the second hand, and there it displays how many miles away the storm is. So as you can see, we put a lot of thought into pulling historical inspiration from not only form, but also function. With today's manufacturing technology, we're able to put together a complete package that pays homage to the origins of this wristwatch, while maintaining a level of refinement and overall beauty from all angles. At 45mm, the case is slightly oversized, but it certainly doesn't wear like a 45. The wire lugs are minimal and doesn't add too much more material around the strap integration, which provides a cleaner visual appeal. As you can see, the lugs allow the strap to drop straight down onto various different wrist sizes pretty comfortably. However, even still, we know that 45mm is still 45mm, and we plan on expanding the Avigator collection into smaller case sizes to accommodate more wrists out there. If you'd like to know more about the Avigator, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll create more videos like these based on what you guys want to see. So don't forget to subscribe and stay up to date on all the new, exciting things happening with the brand. Also, please follow us on Instagram and join our Facebook group, where we frequently post exclusive content, as well as surveys to make sure we stay connected with you. Thanks, y'all.